She was young, full of dreams, and believed that love could change her life. One night, she packed her small bag, quietly opened the door, and disappeared into the dark. She didn't look back, not even once, because she thought love was waiting for her on the other side. When her parents found out, they said nothing. No shouting, no crying, just silence. Cold, heavy, painful silence. Some say they were ashamed. Others whisper they knew more than they ever told.
Days passed, and then, one morning, the village woke up to a scream. A body had been found near the old bridge, wrapped in mud and leaves, as if someone tried to hide her, but couldn't finish what they started. Her eyes were open, staring at something only she could see. The police came, the villagers gathered, but there were no footprints, no witnesses, no answers. Everyone said the same thing. There was no one there. But someone was there. Someone who knew that road. Someone who knew she would be there that night. In her hand, they found a small torn handkerchief, old, with the faint smell of perfume and a dark red stain. Blood, but not hers. That one clue ignored like everything else. When they checked her phone, there was only one message, sent just 15 minutes before she died. It said, "If something happens to me, forgive me." Forgive her for what? Was he afraid of someone, or did she already know what was coming? The parents refused to talk. Her husband vanished, and the case was closed, labeled unsolved. But silence never stays silent for long. At night, when the fog rolls over the bridge, some villagers say she's standing there. White dress soaked in mist, hair tangled, eyes cold, still waiting for someone to tell her story. Others say it isn't her ghost, it's the truth, still wandering, still unspoken. Because silence can hide many things: fear, guilt, shame, but not forever. They say every secret eventually comes to light, and when it does, it burns everything that tried to bury it. She wanted love, but all she found was a secret that no one dared to tell.
It's the smell I remember most. Even now, 3 years later, I'll walk through a hardware store or an antique shop and catch a hint of it. Formaldehyde and something sweet, like vanilla gone rotten. And my heart, it just stops because it takes me back to that house, the last house on Cedar Trail Road, and the thing I found in the workshop, the thing that followed me home. I was a real estate agent back then, new, desperate for a listing. That's why I took the call. That's why I said yes. I need to sell my father's house. I need it gone. Her name was Margaret Holbrook. Her voice, thin, like old paper. The house was deep in the San Bernardino Mountains. The price she gave me made no sense. A beautiful, massive cabin on 5 acres, and she wanted less than half its worth. No, price it to sell, first offer. I don't want people walking through it. A red flag, I know, but I saw the commission check in my head. I saw my rent being paid, so I asked the question, is there anything wrong with the property? The house is fine. Just when you go, don't go in the workshop out back, please. Click. The drive up was strange. The pavement gave way to dirt. The GPS died. Trees crowded the road, branches scraping against my windows like fingernails. Creaking sound. It felt like the mountain didn't want me there. And then I saw it. The house. Dark, heavy logs that drank the light, windows like black mirrors reflecting only the shadows of trees. It had been empty for 2 years, but perfect. Too perfect. The lawn cut, no leaves on the porch. Someone had been taking care of it. I started taking my pictures. Living room, dining room, upstairs, master bedroom, closet full of clothes, all the same size, all 1970s, like uniforms. For a couple of seconds, I lingered longer in the bedroom than I should have. The air smelled faintly of lemons, or maybe it was the pine cleaner still lingering. But there was something else too. Faint. I couldn't place it at first. And then it hit me. That sweet, rotten vanilla. My stomach knotted. I tried to shake it off, focus on the photos. The living room, the dining room, the kitchen, all spotless, too clean, arranged like a museum, like no one had ever lived here, or like someone had lived here and erased themselves. The master bathroom, white tiles, spotless. The mirror reflected me perfectly, or so I thought. But for a second, I saw a shadow behind me. I spun. Nothing. Just the empty hall. My heart thudded, my hand shook, and then I heard it, a click, soft, like a door closing somewhere far away. My blood ran cold. Hello? Silence. For a couple of seconds, I crept down the stairs, camera in hand. The front door still open, the back door locked. It had to be nothing. Through the dining room window, the workshop, the door open, just a crack, darkness inside. Inhale sharply. I knew it had been closed when I arrived. I know it. Don't go in the workshop. For a couple of seconds, I finished my photos, hands shaking, locked the front door, walked toward my car, tried not to look, but I did. The door wider now, open enough to see inside. I smelled it, vanilla and formaldehyde, and then breathing, slow, wet, labored, from inside the dark. I ran, didn't look back. Car engine starting abruptly, tires squealing. I never went back. I quit my job, moved, changed my number. Robert Chen, found 3 days later, sitting in the chair, mummified. But now the apartment, empty for months, still sounds, scraping, dragging, slow, rhythmic. And the ceiling, a crack, a dark line, something leaking, a drop, thick, dark, hitting the floor. I knelt, shook, smelled it, vanilla, formaldehyde. The chair, it must never be empty. It found me. It's here.
The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. For weeks, I had felt nothing. No sounds, no shadows, no smells. And yet, the moment I stepped inside last night, something shifted. A scraping, soft at first, almost polite, but deliberate, purposeful, coming from the ceiling above. I froze, my hands gripping the edge of the counter, my breath shallow. The drop, thick, dark, hitting the hardwood. I knelt, tried to focus, heart pounding. The smell, vanilla and formaldehyde. The same as the workshop, the same as that mountain house. It shouldn't be here, not in my apartment, not after all I had done to escape it. I reached up toward the crack in the plaster ceiling. The line was jagged, almost alive. Small, almost imperceptible movements within it, like the ceiling itself was breathing. And then, a whisper. The chair must never be empty. I yanked my hand back, cold sweat running down my back. My phone gone. I had placed it on the counter and it had disappeared just like that. I tried to move, tried to leave the apartment, but the door wouldn't budge. Not with force, not with reason, like it had fused to the frame. The air itself seemed heavier, denser, thicker. And then I heard it, another sound, something dragging across the floor above, slow, deliberate, rhythmic, like a heavy chair being pulled across boards that should have been solid, but somehow weren't. I pressed myself against the wall, heart hammering, breath shaky. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe a neighbor, maybe nothing. But the smell told me the truth. Vanilla and formaldehyde. It had followed me from the mountain, from the chair, from Robert Chen. It had found me. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time was irrelevant. The scraping continued, now joined with whispers. Hundreds of voices layered atop one another, speaking in a language I didn't know, but I understood. Every word, every syllable, a warning, a command, a curse. Do not look, do not listen, do not run. The chair must never be empty. I yanked my hand back, cold sweat running down my back. My phone? Gone. I had placed it on the counter and it had disappeared just like that. I tried to move, tried to leave the apartment, but the door wouldn't budge. Not with force, not with reason, like it had fused to the frame. The air itself seemed heavier, denser, thicker. And then I heard it, another sound, something dragging across the floor above, slow, deliberate, rhythmic, like a heavy chair being pulled across boards that should have been solid, but somehow weren't. I pressed myself against the wall, heart hammering, breath shaky. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe a neighbor, maybe nothing. But the smell told me the truth. Vanilla and formaldehyde. It had followed me from the mountain, from the chair, from Robert Chen. It had found me. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time was irrelevant. The scraping continued, now joined with whispers. Hundreds of voices layered atop one another, speaking in a language I didn't know, but I understood. Every word, every syllable, a warning, a command, a curse. Do not look, do not listen, do not run. The chair must never be empty. I tried to scream, my mouth opened, but no sound came out, just a strangled wheeze. My throat burned, my lungs ached, and yet I could feel it, surrounding me, closing in, watching, waiting. The first hand appeared, cold. I felt it brush against my ankle, not human. Long, thin fingers, impossibly cold. Ice burned my skin where it touched, and yet it was gentle. For now, testing, probing, learning. Lotus, a low, dark inhale. I kicked, tried to strike at it, but my foot passed through it as if it were smoke. And then a weight pressed against my back, pushing me forward, forcing me down, toward the crack, toward the line in the ceiling, toward whatever was leaking from it. I struggled, flailing. My hands grabbed a chair nearby. I swung it with all my strength, but the hands moved faster, faster than I could see, faster than reason allowed, and the chair shattered against the wall, splintering wood. Then silence for a heartbeat, and the scraping stopped. I dared to breathe, quietly, Slowly, carefully, my head lifted, and I saw it, a shadow moving along the ceiling, twisting, stretching, forming something human, or maybe not human. Eyes, black holes staring down at me. A smile, wide, wrong, ancient. I screamed again, but this time sound escaped, and it made it angrier. The ceiling cracked further, and a thin, dark tendril fell, slowly. I could see it pulsate, beating almost like a heart. I tried to move, but my feet glued, my arms frozen, my body unwilling. The tendril touched the floor. I smelled it immediately. Vanilla, formaldehyde, and something else. Something rotting, something alive. It moved toward me, slowly, testing, waiting, watching. I tried to retreat, but the space behind me disappeared. Walls elongated, shadows stretched unnaturally. The apartment transformed, not solid, not real. And then the voice again, low, raspy, ancient, coming from everywhere and nowhere. You were warned. The chair must never be empty. It is coming for you. I couldn't think, couldn't move. My mind fractured. Memories of the mountain house, Robert Chen, the workshop, the throne, all returned. Every smell, every sound, every shadow, every scream. The scraping started again, this time closer, right above my head, rhythmically, like someone dragging a massive, heavy object across the ceiling boards. But there were no boards, no ceiling, just darkness, moving, alive. I grabbed the nearest object, a lamp, threw it upward, smashing glass. It did nothing, or it did, because a shape emerged, high above me, sitting, or maybe hovering. The throne, the chair, against the ceiling. Impossible, larger than logic allowed, twisted, gnarred, antler-like back, carved with symbols, ancient, bleeding shadows. And then I saw him, or it, Robert Chen's face, or what remained of him. Or maybe it had never been him. Eyes empty, skin taut, voice layered with another, deep, raspy, terrifying. You should not have come back. I screamed, but no sound escaped my mouth, only the sound of the scraping, closer, heavier, the whispers, louder, layering, overlapping, commanding, alive. The chair moved, slowly, deliberately, toward me. The weight of it pressed on my chest. I fell backward. My back hit the floor. Air left my lungs. Hands cold. I felt them everywhere. Pulling, dragging, testing. My fingers, toes, even my hair. I grabbed a hammer again. Anything. I swung wildly, hit something, shattered a leg of the chair. It didn't stop. The hands withdrew. For now, the scraping continued, but slower, measured, waiting. I crawled to the door, pushed, pulled, tried to escape, but the door, nothing, stubborn, immovable. The apartment itself, a prison. And then, silence. The chair stopped moving. The shadow withdrew, almost teasing, watching.
The apartment felt alive, breathing, waiting. Every shadow seemed to move in rhythm with my heartbeat. Every floorboard groaned like it knew my secrets, my fears, my weakness. The drop from the ceiling, thick, black, cold, landed with a heavy plop.
I dared to touch it. My fingers quivered. The smell hit me immediately. Vanilla, formaldehyde, and the rot. That unmistakable living rot that clung to your lungs. And then the whispers started again, soft at first, teasing, winding around my mind. You were warned. It is patient. It waits. The chair must never be empty. I ran to the center of the apartment, pressed my back against the wall, tried to breathe, tried to think, but every attempt was smothered by the thick, suffocating air. The scraping started again, louder this time, rhythmic, methodical, pulling, dragging across the ceiling above me. I looked up. The chair. Floating? Or suspended? Impossible. Twisted wood, antler-like back, carved with symbols that seemed to shift when I blinked. And on it, him, or whatever wore his body. Eyes hollow, skin tight, mouth stretched into a grin that made my stomach curl. You should not have returned, the voice rasped, layered with others, older, crueler, ancient. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My voice had been stolen. Only my heartbeat remained audible. The chair moved closer, slowly, every inch deliberate, purposeful. Shadows stretched from it across the walls, pulling at me, tugging at the edges of reality. Cold fingers grabbed my ankles. I kicked, thrashed, but the hands were everywhere, too many to fight. Each one icy, sharp, testing, pulling. I grabbed the hammer again, swung with all my strength, hit a shadow, a hand, the leg of the chair. Something splintered. A scream echoed, not mine, but high-pitched, wet, tortured. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. And then, silence. For a single heartbeat, nothing moved, nothing breathed. The air hung heavy, pregnant with anticipation. Then it shifted. The ceiling above me rippled, not like plaster, not like wood, like liquid darkness. Shapes emerged from it, faces, mouths, eyes, screaming silently, reaching, pulling. The chair loomed above, larger, impossibly vast, its back twisting toward infinity. I crawled backward, desperate, clawing at the floor. My nails scraped against hardwood that no longer felt solid. The apartment itself seemed to bend, stretching, folding, closing in on me. And then the chair descended, slowly, the legs scraping the ceiling as it came down, hollow black eye staring into mine. The hands returned, wrapping around my arms, my shoulders, my legs, pulling, testing, tugging me closer. I fought, I swung, anything. A chair leg, a broom, my fists. Nothing stopped it, nothing touched it. You belong to it now, the voice said, layered, cold, dry, ancient. A tendril of darkness shot from the chair, twisted around me like a snake, cold, solid, alive, pulling me upward toward the waiting throne. My vision blurred, the whispers grew louder, hundreds, thousands, all commanding me, cursing me, marking me. I clawed at the floor, I screamed, finally a sound escaped me, a raw, ragged scream that seemed to shock the darkness itself. The hands recoiled for a moment, the tendril slackened. I slammed my body against the wall, broke free just enough to stumble backward, tripping over a table. My palms scraped against the splintered wood. My knees hit the floor. Blood ran. Pain, sharp, reality. And then I saw it. A crack in the wall. Tiny, thin, but a crack. A way out? I didn't think. I ran, crawled toward it, pulled, pressed, shoved. The apartment shifted again. Ceilings elongated. Walls breathed. Shadows stretched across the floor. Reaching, grasping, I felt them graze my skin. Ice burned my flesh. The crack widened just enough for me to slip through. I fell, tumbled into the hall outside. My lungs screamed. My body shook. I dared to look back. The apartment behind me, still there, and yet not there. The windows dark, the door fused to the frame, but I could see movement, shadows, the chair, its back twisting, reaching, eyes hollow, mouth stretched into a grin, watching me, waiting, patient, eternal. I ran down the hall, out the stairwell, into the street. The city, normal, lights, cars, people. None of it mattered. The apartment smell followed me. Vanilla, formaldehyde, rot. I didn't stop, couldn't stop. Every shadow became the chair. Every wind gust carried whispers. Every reflection, empty eyes staring back at me. Days passed, or maybe minutes. Time no longer existed. Sleep was impossible. Food, water, irrelevant. The chair had found me. I could feel it, waiting, watching, patient, eternal. Then a message. My phone appeared on the ground, screen lit, a single text. Did you think you could run? The chair waits. The chair knows you belong. No sender, no number, just the text. And above me, the scraping, slow, deliberate, pulling, the sound of wood, across reality. I looked up, and I knew. It's patient, eternal, waiting, hungry. The chair must never be empty, and I cannot hide. A long, trembling inhale, heartbeat pounding. Music fades into low, suffocating drone. The scraping grows louder, closer, rhythmical. I feel it now, in my bones, in my blood, in my thoughts.